Who's opened their presents? Who hasn't opened their presents? Yay! We haven't opened ours yet. We haven't got many, but we haven't opened them yet. There's one big box under the tree that I'm really excited about because it's to Ken and I from both of our children and their families. So just can't wait to get home, really. So here we are, Christmas morning. It's exciting, isn't it? Because there's so much that goes on Christmas Day. We have all these presents, that's one thing. We have all this food, that's another thing. That's, and drink, well, in moderation. And then we have chocolate. A lot of chocolate, don't we, Joseph? Yes, we have a lot of chocolate. This is one of my favourites. The purple one. Am I alone in that one, or is it? Yeah, see, it's the best, isn't it? You get a bag of Quality Street. They don't look quite the same anymore. I must say, this, recyclable paper is all very well and eco-friendly, but it's not so pretty. And it's also not quite the same shape as it used to be. What's going on in the world? I don't know. Anyway, that's my favourite. So I thought and it's not a very big bag, and it's not going to go right round the whole church, but I just thought I'd just see how far it goes. So because some people like the toffee penny, some people like the soft caramel. What one have you got, Kim? Eaten it? Somebody's eaten it? What? How you doing down there? Have you got the one you were hoping for? No, it was matching your cardigan. What more can you ask for, really?
Oh, I love a caramel penny.
Yeah. Oh. What do you mean it's just... They're empty. Empty wrappers, nothing. Yeah. We had the family home last weekend. We ate the lot. Oh, well, I'm sorry, but, sometimes you can really hope for something. You notice I took this one out before we ate them all. Before I put them in the bowl, I thought I need the purple one, so I took that. And I'm really sorry that your hopes have been dashed. So, sometimes we hope for something, don't we? We really hope for something. And just like those chocolates, sometimes our hopes can let us down. Empty wrappers. It was a disappointment, wasn't it? And sometimes that can happen in life as well. We can really hope for something, really want something to happen, but we can be disappointed. When I was about 10, I think I was about 10, it was sort of mid-60s, so, I was about 10. I really loved a group, and this is embarrassing now to admit it, but I really loved the Monkees. Anybody else? Was worried about admitting that. I loved watching their programmes. Oh, Saturday morning, I think it was on. I loved their music. I used to listen to them all the time. Anyway, it was coming towards Christmas, and what I really, really wanted was a Monkees LP. Really wanted a Monkees LP. And Christmas Eve came, and the presents were all under the tree. Now, you've got to remember, my dad was Irish. Well, he was Irish descent. He wasn't actually born in Ireland, but he had Irish things about him. And the Irish have their presents on Christmas Eve. So my dad would be like a child on Christmas Eve. He would be under the tree feeling all the presents. My mum was called Jess, and he would spend the whole of Christmas Eve evening saying, "Can I just have one, Jess? Jess, can I just have one little present?" So we had this tradition of really rummaging under the tree on Christmas Eve. Well, I rummaged for a Monkees LP. There was nothing under that tree that looked anything like an LP. But I had hoped, really, really hoped. So I thought, maybe because it's so obviously an LP, they're going to hold it back until the morning. You know, because parents are kind sometimes like that, and they might have just held it back. And so Christmas morning, when they give it to me, it's obviously an LP, I'm going to be really excited. So Christmas morning came, we gathered round the tree, we were giving out the parcels, as is our norm, and my present from my mum and dad was a bit like this. It was beautifully wrapped. Lovely. It was very similar, you know, the same sort of size, shape. It obviously wasn't a Monkeys LP. It was actually a very nice present. It was lovely. It was a necklace and a bracelet, just what every 10-year-old girl wants, and it was just lovely, but, you know, it wasn't what I had hoped for, what I had wished for every night, what I had dropped very heavy hints about, what I had talked about how much I would really like and was on my Santa's list. But no, I was disappointed. I had hoped in vain. And sometimes when we think about hoping, we think of it as wishing, don't we? We wish for something, and it's wishing for something that we might get or we might not get. The dictionary explanation of hope is a positive expectation, a driving force that keeps us going, an anchor in adversity. That's what hope is. That's what it says in the dictionary, hope, a positive expectation. So you had a positive expectation that when I gave you that bag of chocolates, there was going to be a chocolate in it. Kim, I've broken your heart this morning, I know. You had a positive expectation that you would have a chocolate, not empty wrappers. I'm sorry, that was just to make the point about being disappointed. A positive expectation is that when you have dropped enough hints to your parents that there is something you really, really want for Christmas, that they have heard and they've understood and they've gone out and they bought it. That's your positive expectation. In our way of thinking, hoping for something is a bit like wishing, and wishing doesn't always get the happy ending. We can hope, but it may not happen. But in the Bible, do you know, hope is something different. Hope is something else. It's something much more positive, much more definite. The Bible talks about us having this hope of an amazing new life with God from the moment that we say yes to Jesus. From the moment that we accept his forgiveness, we start a new life. We have this hope of a whole new beginning, a whole new start, a fresh beginning, something new. That is a hope that we have. And the Bible talks about us having a hope of this relationship with God, a relationship that is restored to how it should always have been. That is the sort of hope the Bible talks about. And it talks about this everlasting hope, this eternal hope, that one day, when we're finished in this world, we're going to go to another world where we are with God constantly. Everlasting life in God's presence. That's the hope for the future. In a place where there's no pain, no suffering, and with a new body. This hope that the Bible talks about is not wishing. It's not a fingers crossed, just desperately wishing for. It's a definite thing that's going to happen. It's a definite thing that's in the future. But how can we be so sure? How can we have that reassurance that this can happen? How can we be so definite? Well, I tell you how we can be definite, because God is the one who promises it's true. I'm going to read this from Hebrews, and I'm reading it from the Living Bible version. When a man takes an oath, he's calling upon someone greater than himself to force him to do what he's promised, or to punish him if he later refuses to do it. The oath ends all arguments about it. God also bound himself with an oath, so that those he promised to help would be perfectly sure and never need to wonder whether he might change his plans. He has given us both his promise and his oath, two things we can completely count on. For it is impossible for God to lie. Now all those who flee to him to save them can take new courage when they hear such assurances from God. Now they can know without doubt that he will give them the salvation he has promised them. This certain hope of being saved is a strong and trustworthy anchor for our souls. Wow. That is a hope. That is a certain hope. We can bank on it being true. We can bank on it because God promises it to us, and God cannot lie. We can believe in it with assurance because what God says he will do. We're not wishing for something that might happen. We're hoping and looking forward to something that will happen. It's something that we can trust in because we know the one who promises it. Now, misplaced hope can have dire circumstances. Dire circumstances. If you put your hope in something that is not trustworthy, it can have dire circumstances. Put your hope in something so solid, so true, it's eternal. God's promise is something that cannot let us down because God cannot lie. God is perfect. God is pure. God is holy. He's untouchable. He's just everything that you could possibly think of. And we are not. We should have been, and we should have been in that relationship with God, but we're not. We're marred by all of our sin, by all of the things that we've ever done wrong, thought wrong, will do wrong. And because of that, we can't be that close to God because he is holy. He can't have anything that is unholy near him. So what happened? Jesus came. Jesus came to bridge that gap. And it's only by putting our trust and our hope in him that we have that relationship with God that he promises us. And that promise is true. It will not let us down. God does not lie. So when we speak at this time of year about Immanuel, God being with us, we can be totally assured of that fact, that God is with us. We can be totally assured, absolutely certain. It's not an iffy hope. It's an absolute certainty that we can bank on. Jesus came as we celebrate and remember today. He came as Immanuel, forever God